Welcome to It's My Business. I'm your host, Mark LeRae, and this is a special edition, I call it. Today's business is business in the city. Well, specifically in the town. I have with me a special guest, a regional councillor, Marilyn Crawford, who is running for Mayor of Ajax, the town of Ajax. And so I'm honored to have her with me today on my podcast. And this should be a really good episode. We're going to have a really good conversation to talk to you as business owners, especially those of you in the Ajax area, about what to expect if she's elected as mayor of the town of Ajax. So take it away, Marilyn. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and why are you running for the mayor of Ajax?
So I am Marilyn Crawford. I am a wife first to my husband. We'll be 42 years this year married.
Wow.
And the same guy.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I have two children, a daughter who's 37 and a son who's 32, and a granddaughter who's 15. And so that's really who I am. I'm a grandma, I'm a mom, and I'm a wife. Aside from that, I have been a school board trustee for 10 years. I started in 2000, and in 2010, I decided that I was going to try for local council and was successful. And again, I was that for 2 terms and then became a regional councillor in 2018. And this is now 8 years that I have been in this position. So why am I running for mayor? Well, our current mayor is not running again. So for me, I believe that I have represented this town for 26 years. And I feel like I have gained a certain reputation. And I feel like it's time for a woman to run this town for a bit.
I love this.
Never had it before. Might as well be the first, right?
So this will be a first.
Yeah.
Make history in Ajax.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So why did you get into public service in the first place? Like, what was that aha moment or that, the reason behind that?
Okay, like if you had asked me, like in my 20s, if politics was in my future, not a chance. But when my daughter, she was in elementary school, was having some struggles with school, and she had been receiving all these supports before, and then all of a sudden they were taken away. And I was not engaged in the government. I had no idea what had happened. So I reached out to my friend who was a trustee, and he said, yeah, they changed all of the, they called it back then special education rules. And so because my daughter was not identified as needing special help, she lost all the support she had. So I was like, well, I don't understand that. Like, that's not fair. And he goes, well, then you should run for trustee. And I'm like, well, okay. So I didn't even know what that was. So I thought, okay. So I gave it some thought, talked to my husband. My son at the time was 3, I believe, at the time. And so I put there was an incumbent, but he hadn't run an election before. He had only been appointed due to a death on the trustee board. And so I put my name in, and I worked like crazy. I delivered, like, my flyers were like 8 by 10 pieces of paper, and I promised things that I had no idea what I was talking about. Lessons learned. And I just delivered all these flyers. Back then, it was 2 wards that we represented. So every day I was out delivering flyers. I had no signs. I think it helped that my name started with a C and his started with a Z. So, because most people don't really understand trustees. So I got elected and, 10 minutes into it, realized I couldn't do what I said I was going to do. And I became more of an advocate to parents who were, finding issues with the school board system. It's hard to find out how to help your own child if you don't have an advocate to help you do that. So I kind of became that advocate for parents. I became a connector for SEC groups, school community council groups that were struggling. And so I would take them out for breakfast once a month, not for me to connect with them, but for them to connect with each other. And it became a really good network for them to be able to find out best practices in different schools and that. So I became chair of the board for the last 5 years of my trusteeship. And luckily for me, there was a full CUPE strike in the very last year. So I got to be chair through the full CUPE strike. So that was interesting too. But
I could imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's really what got me into it. And, if you wait 4 years in an election cycle, people forget who you are. So I said to my husband, well, maybe I should put my name in for local and see what happens. And interestingly enough, the local councillor at the time was the current mayor today, Sean Collier. So I didn't know, like I hadn't really paid that much attention to local government because I was, as a trustee, you're dealing in the education world, and that's very separate type of politics.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how it started.
That's amazing. So you kind of like jumped in and then realized, whoa, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Bigger than you thought. But then you went further. You jumped in even further in a different way, going local for the local government, right?
Yeah.
So, and it seems like you just became committed to your writing and to the town in general from there.
One of the things I ran on for local council was to have monthly community meetings. And I had no idea, again, how I was going to do that, but I felt like the community deserved to have direct connection with your representative without having staff there. And so I'll never forget the very first community meeting I had. All of the staff at the town of Ajax were going, what is she doing? Yeah. She doesn't know anything, and she's going out and having meetings. So we had an assistant. I asked her to book me a room at a school. It was word of mouth. We had no social media back then. It was just kind of putting out flyers and that kind of stuff. And
the good old days.
Oh, the good old days. We were all happier with no social media, weren't we? And so I would have, 2 people show up, and that just consistency. I consistently had those meetings. I made sure they were in the schools because I believe that the school was a hub of the community, coming from the school board, right? And so it was fun. Yeah. I had no answers to any of the questions, so I would gather all the questions and I would send them back out to staff. I would answer the questions through email, and it was good. It was really good, and I really enjoyed because I was learning like they were learning. So they were teaching me, I was teaching them, and there's nothing better. Of course you can answer emails, of course you can answer phone calls, but when you have a chance to have a conversation face to face with somebody, you immediately know if you can trust that person. You immediately know if I'm going to be invested in that person. And that was fun to see those connections suddenly start to begin to happen. And the last meeting we had this term, so I did 2 terms of community meetings. Fortunately, when I became a regional councillor, my local councillor, who is Councillor Rob Tyler-Morin, was right into the community meetings, loved the idea. We continued that through the whole next 8 years. And our last roundup meeting, we had over 100 people at it.
Oh, wow.
Now, it was a special meeting, but we still had 100 people come out to it. And I'm just so proud of that because it wasn't easy in the beginning, but it was so worth it to be able to, you create champions within your community. And somebody would say to me, well, why would you do that? You get the same people out all the time. And I think, yeah, but like they're going out to their community and they're saying, no, that's not right. We had a meeting with Marilyn and this is what the right answer is. So they become the connectors in their own community. They're my defenders out there.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. A lot of what you're saying reminds me of exactly what business growth is all about. And so because this is a business podcast, my audience is business podcast, is business owners. I always like to share concepts and the principles of business so that business owners can grow their business. And I love what you said. You said, words like consistency. You figured it out. Like you didn't know everything. You didn't really know anything at all. Right? You had support. Like there's so much in what you just said, the support of your husband, and eventually the support of a community. It went from 1 or 2 at a meeting to, as you said, now hundreds, right? So, but you were consistent with that. And that's what business growth is all about. We start from nothing, start from an idea, and we got to figure it out as we go along. We don't have all the pieces, and we got to figure it out. So tell me this, because it is a business podcast, and if you're in Ajax, those of you that live in Ajax, this is specifically for you. So let's get right into the weeds, Marilyn. You good with that?
I'm good.
All right, let's go. So if you become the next mayor of Ajax, how will doing business in the town get better?
So my goal is to visit every single business in the first term. Doesn't matter how big the business is, how small the business is. I want to be able to go out. We have had a tremendous growth in business, to be honest with you. In 2018, that was the focus of the new council with the new mayor. Sean, our Mayor Collier, was extremely focused on bringing economic development to our town. And he was successful. Amazon, H&M, Gordon Foods was, I think, already started, but certainly grew through that. So we had a lot. And, in some ways we took a bit of criticism about the fact that they were warehouses, but they provided a job for people that needed a job. A job, period,
exactly.
Right? Yeah. So, it might not have been the high-paying jobs that everybody thought that you could get, but we provided a job for people that needed a job.
Yeah, and they hire a lot of people. Because, Amazon alone is, 1,000?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
1,000, and H&M is, I think, 500
yep.
employees. So, that's a lot, right? Right there. Yeah.
And so we did a big concern. Now, some of that might have been organic. Maybe they were coming anyway. I don't know, but we'll take credit for it in 2018.
Of course, why not?
And then, bam, we hit into COVID in 2020. And it was like there was a different shift again in how to support business at that time because everything was suffering, right? And so I feel like my goal, and I know that there's been goals set like this before, but I'm a bit of a dog with a bone. So if I make up my mind I'm going to do something, that is what's going to be done. My goal is to visit every single business in our town in this term. And, that goes from Amazon to the local convenience store. I want everyone to know who the Mayor of Ajax is. And so that will be my first goal. I don't know how much we are the tiniest geographic municipality in Durham region. So growth as far as new business, as in buildings, are limited for us. And now, of course, the shift has changed from economics to housing. So we woke up from COVID into a very different world, and we had a shortage of housing. And so the province has this main focus on building houses. The trick piece of this is not giving up our employment lands for housing so that we still have employment lands opportunities for employment to grow. We have to have it. There's a very delicate balance there that we need to maintain. So that's something that we have to make sure that we consistently are managing over the next few years because we need houses, but we don't want to sacrifice one for the other.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why you see a lot of these multiplex where you have retail on the bottom and then you build on top. Mm-hmm. The theory is you can build on anything. Yeah. So can you build on a fire station? Can you build on the plaza? Can you look at Durham, the Durham Center? Can you look at those stores and say, probably put 5 floors on there? But does that make that more economically? It has to make it better for the businesses if the people are living above them. Mm-hmm. Right? You're bringing the audience to the businesses. So, anyway.
Yeah. So when you say you're going to, no, absolutely. That's great. And I love what you said that you're going to, that's a tall ask, that you're going to go and see every business, big or small, in the town. I love that. And that's really just to be able to hear their heart, hear their problems, hear what they expect. Like, is that what you're looking to do? Yeah.
Yeah, so Rob and I, we did, we specifically did a focus on the Ward 1 businesses. As you know, we represent Pickering Village, And Pickering Village is such a unique area in the town because it's rich with history, but it doesn't drive a lot of residents to the area, largely because it's been a service in, like, most of the businesses are services. So, accounting and dentist, and it's not like retail. There's a little bit of retail, a little bit of restaurant, and so our idea was that we were going to push the businesses in Ward 1 and be able to showcase them. So we did like 14 weeks of, we would post 4 or 5 businesses. We were not in the pictures. It was a business owner showcasing the business, the location, what they did. And it was actually really well received, and to the point where people were saying, well, why don't you come over here and do our ward and do this and do that, right?
That's nice.
But we represent Ward 1. And so I think that there's a move to be able to do something like that easy, as a mayor, where I can just go into any ward and talk to them. And I'm not so naive to know that some of our businesses have really struggled with the homeless issue that we have in our downtown. And I know that actually spreads out a little bit further into other areas. And so I feel like the businesses really need to hear a voice. We need to hear their voice. I need to hear their voice, so that they don't feel like they're suffering alone. And I think that there's probably a move there where we can have, I would call it like a business watch, where you have a connecting businesses with businesses, right? So if they are starting to see trends in their area, whether it's a strip mall or, a single business that is finding that there's some issues that they're having that they don't really know how to connect with, then you've got a connecting with each of these businesses so that you can actually feel like, okay, I can talk to this person, they had this problem. I can talk to this person, they can have that problem. And then I can be the hub of all of that, so that they feel like, oh, we've got somebody that will actually do something about it. I can call this number, I can call that number, and I can get a result. Where I think sometimes people feel like, and it's no criticism, but I feel like they think that we don't care. But if you don't know who to talk to, I can understand why they would feel that way. And I think that's an important piece that needs to be addressed right away, is that we do care. We need to know what the concerns are. And if that means, a round table of a certain group of people, then that's what we need to do. Yeah. Again, we represent all taxpayers, and businesses are taxpayers. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And so we need to be able to hear that voice loud and clear.
Yeah. Yeah. What I'm hearing is that you're saying, so I have a framework as a business coach. I teach my clients this, to grow your business, focus on connecting, collaborating, and contributing. And that's what I'm hearing you say, that you, as mayor, you want to connect with your constituents. You want to collaborate and even have that culture of collaboration.
I think that that other piece, that entrepreneur piece, I think there's some really good women groups that are out there trying to connect women entrepreneurs together so that they have that same collaboration. But I think that there's even a greater picture that we can build within the town of Ajax, where we can, the hardest thing about entrepreneurship is finding them.
Yeah.
Right? So where are you? What are you doing? You're working at your home. We don't necessarily have all that information. So having almost a call to entrepreneurs to have a round table. Because again, best practices are a lot of what makes people successful.
Yeah.
Why reinvent the wheel if somebody's already got it?
Exactly.
Why not just add on to it, right?
Yeah. And I love that you said that, because actually that was one of my questions, if you were planning to have a round table. And so I like that you're ahead of me, Marilyn. That's awesome. And I think that's really amazing. Connect, collaborate, and contribute. Yeah. Right. And when that culture is there, because you're right, the Ajax is so small, right? And so you can only have so many businesses and so many types of businesses. But if there's that culture where you're supporting one another, the retention, business can grow and thrive in Ajax.
Because retention is I think, one of the most important things, right? One of the things that I heard once everybody started waking up out of COVID was that smaller businesses, their rents were increasing exponentially. Yeah. And that was hard for them in certain situations. So they found themselves having to either downsize and move or close up completely. And again, how alone must they have felt to not know where their voice could be heard for that?
Yeah. That was happening quite a bit a number of years ago. I think even before this administration under Sean Collier, it was happening where a lot of business owners were heading into Pickering and other places. And I got to say, from what I've seen, that yourself and the Mayor Collier and this administration, I think have done a good job to either bring them back, or businesses that are starting up or decide to come here to Ajax are staying. So I've not really seen that departure as much as I used to anymore.
I'm liking that.
Yeah. And so you plan to keep it that way. The downtown is a major issue, though. Downtown Ajax. I got to be honest with you. Yesterday I was downtown Ajax, and I noticed that the Rex Hall over there is closed. We don't have to get into why they closed or whatever, but yeah, it's kind of what's the plans?
So the interesting thing about that plaza, it has a very unique build in that it was one of the first strip malls ever built in Ontario.
In Ontario?
In Ontario.
No way.
Yeah. Little
Wow.
fun facts. And funner facts than that, there's like 42 owners in there.
What?
I don't know if originally it was like 42 owners.
Yeah.
I don't know if any have consolidated or not, but the unique piece about that whole plaza is that it was built in sections.
Yeah.
So each section had its own owner. And so, everyone says, well, I'll just tear it down, bulldoze it down and, build something else. It's not quite as simple as that when you have to deal with, when you're dealing with business owners that have multiple units in there and multiple business owners, right?
Yeah.
And so, and the other unique thing is that the parking lot is owned by the town of Ajax. So we own the parking lot, they own the businesses. So we've had, we would love to redevelop down there. And we've had 3 developers come through. In my brief time, there's been 3 developers. And, for whatever reason, whether it's the uniqueness of the way it's built or, it's never been successful yet. It is going to be whoever the mayor is that gets that piece of property revitalized will be wearing the crown.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the exact answers are for that. I know that, it has really struggled. I spend a great deal of time in that mall supporting the businesses. My hairdresser is there. I get my coffee at Nazareth Bakery. I shop at Sal's. I frequent, Home Hardware.
Yeah.
And so I do tend to, whenever possible, support those businesses. But most of my mornings start kind of doing a tour of it to make sure that everything is okay.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Just before everybody gets into work, if I see any issues that need to be addressed, text staff, let's see if we can get over here. And, and hopefully my goal is that when people come into work, that they are coming into a relatively calm place.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. So when a company is deciding between Ajax, Pickering, Whitby, even Oshawa, or any other GTA community, what do you believe should make Ajax the obvious choice?
Right now, Ajax is the most diverse municipality in Durham region. And why that matters is we are open to business of all diversities. So as Nancy often says, we have the best food in all of Durham region because of our diversity. But what makes us the best? I think our small town mentality, which I believe we still have and that's not a downfall of us. It's a feeling that we are close knit. It's a feeling that we are community. And I think that if you want to put your business in a place that still values community, that's a huge advantage.
And because you're aiming to connect, collaborate, and develop that culture in Ajax, I mean, people, it's like the whole Canada first thing. We're spending here. You know what I mean? Those that live in Ajax will want to spend there because you got that, we want to contribute to our community.
Yeah.
I love that. And how do you balance attracting larger employers and investment while still making sure local small businesses are not pushed aside?
That's an interesting question. We will be looking to revitalize Pickering Village. And in our efforts to revitalize our village, we have had literally no demand for ice. So our arena has not had ice in it. The Pickering Village Arena has not had ice in it for 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, 5 years. So it's still being utilized with different organizations, but it's not being used for what its purpose were. So at some point, we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to be looking to probably in the future that building will come down, and in its place is going to be housing and possibly a cultural center. But one of the things that I have said through the consulting period is that you're not bringing in a coffee shop in here, because I have 2 coffee shops in the village that need help.
Yeah.
So you don't create something that puts somebody else out of business. If you want to put retail on the bottom, let's talk about what that looks like. But we're not doing it to the detriment of the village. The purpose of that revitalization is to be able to revitalize the businesses within the community. And so I would, so that's what I feel is, not sure if that quite answers your question, but like I would not want to be fighting, and seeing businesses that are trying to make a difference in a certain area by putting the same business in another area, in the same area.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know there's been an issue with zoning and permits and red tape and stuff like that. And I if I am correct, I think the current administration has sort of dealt with some of that. Yeah.
We've made it incredibly easy for people to come in. We actually were groundbreaking in that many years ago. We had an economic development team that created a whole pathway in that we had pre-serviced many of our employment lands so that all the businesses had to do was come in and build it, because we had already surfaced it with, water, sewage, electric, everything was in the ground already, which made it actually quite a good appetite for people to come in and build. And that was done even in Mayor Parish years, that was done. And so that was done to revitalize that whole economic development. Again, I don't know how much more space we actually have to actually get buildings in here. But, we also have done a whole effort to look at what are our empty spots. So what pieces of, buildings that are in the core of so Ward 3, closer to the waterfront around Monarch, do we have any empty warehouses in there? What are we going to do with those empty warehouses? Is it something that we can attract people to come in and look at these buildings and build something or fix them up so that they can revitalize that whole area? Yeah. I know that we've done a huge effort in that and reached out to landlords to say, hey, what are you doing here? It's empty. How long have you been empty for? What do you want to see happen in here? So if we have an inventory of all of that, then when people come to us to say we're looking to invest or put a company in here, we can hook this person up with this landlord, and then they can talk about it. So we want to be that connector between businesses coming in and spaces that we have in the town. Same with empty lots. Yeah. What we reach out to them to say, what are you looking here? What's your bog? What's holding you up here? And so we want to be that connector to try to push either mostly business. We would love to have more businesses come in any of our empty spots. So.
Okay. Is there, I don't know about now, is there a campaign, if you will, or a plan to attract businesses from other countries to come to?
That's interesting. Not that I know currently. It's probably something, like investors from other countries. Right. Yeah. There's nothing that I know of personally right now. It's something we could certainly look at in the future. Yeah. I'm always open to possibilities for sure.
Yeah. And the more you talk to your the business owners at these round tables,
exactly.
You'll get to know. All right. You're doing good so far, Marilyn. I got just a couple other questions. These are more like rapid fire questions. So finish this sentence, Marilyn. Ajax will become the best place in Durham region to do business because
You're going to know your mayor and your council, and we're going to help you be successful.
mic drop right there. What is one thing Ajax is currently doing well for businesses and one thing it must stop doing if it wants to grow? I think you kind of mentioned a little bit of that earlier.
One of the things that we did really well for, I feel what we did really well for businesses was we created a culinary magazine, and then we had a great launch, and we were able to bring all of our restaurants that were part of that culinary launch into a space and celebrate their success. And I can't tell you how proud they were to be showcased in a magazine that said, hey, look at this place. This is a great place to eat. And then be able to come together as a bunch of restaurant owners to be able to celebrate each other, not compete, but to celebrate each other. And I thought that was such a special time that we had together. And I think we could do more of that. The difficulty with a magazine is it becomes stagnant. So there's no adding to it. Like when you get a new restaurant, how do we add to it? I think that the concept was a great concept that we did. Now, how do we take it to the next level? I secretly really believe, not secretly because it won't be a secret anymore, is that we need a Facebook page that says Discover Ajax. And that in that discovering of Ajax, you talk about all the businesses. You can talk about any business that you have in Ajax. Talk about any sport that you have going on in Ajax, because we have amazing softball or baseball fields that were their legacy from the Pan Am Games that are used all summer long, and we don't shout that out enough. Cricket is in demand, and we have a beautiful cricket center that we just redeveloped over the past term that is starting up very, very shortly. We need to showcase that. We have our first waterfront run that happened last year since COVID hit. We had over 800 runners that came into Ajax.
Really?
And you know what that means? That means that those people went to restaurants, they went to hotels, they went to different places in our town, and we need to showcase that more. The running community is a tight community, and it was such a successful event that we have, and it's on again this year again. So I feel like, we do a great job at shouting out what the town of Ajax does, but we need to even go a little step further and start to shout out tourism. Tourism is a business.
Yes, exactly.
Sports is a business.
Yep.
Nonprofits are a business. It's all like it's not it. We look too much like businesses are in this little box, but there's all these other pieces that are businesses, hotels, restaurants, and all of that all flows together through tourism. And we have a beautiful waterfront. We've got an amazing conservation area, Greenwood, that I don't know that we even talk about that much, but it is incredible. Our Pat Bailey Square is hopping all summer long with events and activities that happen. And then in the winter, we have a skating rink. And so I feel like a Facebook page that actually says, Ajax still lives. We're alive, and we got some rockin' stuff happening in here would be like the best thing that ever happened to us.
Yeah, I love it. I'm picturing all these places in Ajax right now and all these things. I'm like, man, I would love that for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you know we had a waterfront run?
No, I did not.
There you go.
Yeah,
See?
now I know.
Did you know we had baseball diamonds that are rocking all summer long?
Nope.
No,
Didn't
right.
know. Yeah.
Right.
Didn't
These
know.
are all things that happen all the time. That quite honestly, we book the facilities, but a tournament of baseball will bring in families from all over Ontario.
Yeah.
So all over Ontario means they got to need a place to stay. They need a restaurant they're going to eat in. All of that is it overflows into our town.
Yeah.
And we need to, be able to promote all of that through sports. I know Durham Region does it in their own way. I want to own it as a town. I want to be able to say, this is our town.
Yeah.
And you need to check out these restaurants.
Yeah.
Or you need to check out these hotels.
You want to make it cool. When you say, where are you going for the weekend? I'm going to Ajax.
Yeah. And how cool would it be to have like we're having a launch, kickoff for FIFA. right? Like the town is going to do that in our
Right.
fairgrounds.
There you go. See, no, that's
You know?
amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
And
Yeah.
be able to piggyback on events that are happening in other areas of the GTA.
Yeah.
But saying, you're still going to need a place to stay.
Yeah.
And Ajax is not that far away
Yeah.
from a GO train ride into Toronto.
Yeah.
Why not come out here and stay here?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. That almost sounds like, Ajax is small, but it does big things.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
we need to put ourselves back on that map.
Yeah, I love that. And you were just talking a while ago about the restaurants, the magazines and stuff like that. Maybe because there's no Facebook page just yet because you're going to start one. But is there like a taste of, how there's the taste of the Danforth and that
Yes.
in Toronto?
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, like is there something like that right now? There isn't. Okay,
No.
good.
And we got lots of tastes here.
All right, there we go.
And wouldn't it be great to put that on the waterfront?
Yeah.
Where you've got people that are going to be coming anyway,
Yeah.
and they're walking along the waterfront. And you've got little pop-up things happening.
That would be
at the
amazing.
waterfront.
Yeah.
Why not? You could do it. You could do it through the
The
fairgrounds.
taste of Ajax.
Yeah, exactly. You could do it easily. You could do it actually in both locations.
There you go.
It would be fun.
You heard it right here, folks.
Our art community is always looking
Yeah.
for a place to showcase their arts. Again,
Yeah.
it's another business.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
an entrepreneurial business
Yeah.
art. Right, and local artisans are always looking for a place to be able to showcase their art.
Wow. So I'm seeing it right now. Like I'm having a visual right now where Ajax, we had something like that where it's like the taste of Ajax, and you can have multiple things happening in various places. I know there's the movie in the park or whatever that happens
yeah.
sometimes at
Pat Bailey
Audley
Square.
Center or even
Yeah,
Pat Bailey
yeah,
Square. And then there could be an art, go down to the village maybe.
It was
art.
one of the most fun things that we ever did
Yeah.
in my term as a regional councillor was when the Raptors were doing so well. Remember when the Raptors
Yeah.
they were there, and we had hundreds of people come out for those games.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
We did them in Pat Bailey Square.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the light was too light, and so we ended up we did a couple in Pat Bailey Square, and then the final one we did was in the Ajax Community Center in one of the arenas. And what a kick that was to have all the people come in and cheer on our team. It was so electric.
Yeah.
And it was so community building. And I would love to see that happen again. I would love to have a team like the Blue Jays were doing amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
we all felt that energy.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun to have that energy happen in one
Yeah,
space.
yeah. I think that's really what it is. It's that energy,
Yeah.
right? It's energy. It's the
positive
vibrant.
energy.
It's that. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So, I'm Jamaican, and we have a saying that says, "We little, but we talawa," which basically means, in translation, is we're little, but we're big. As I just said,
That's how I feel
we're
about
tall. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. By the
need a
way,
t-shirt that
you
says
mentioned
that.
like what 200 pounds. I see some of your videos, man. If you haven't seen, you got to check it out. Yeah. What do you lift? Do you bench press? What do you lift? Is that 200 something pounds? 100 something
My
pounds?
deadlift?
Yeah.
205.
Dang, that's good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's one of my best
Yeah.
lifts. That's one of my best lifts.
Yeah. And so see, that's what little Ajax can be really big and strong because Marilyn Crawford as mayor.
that. I like
Yeah, that's it. So tell me this. This is my last question for you. If I bring you back 2 years from now, okay, to my podcast, what specific business result should I be able to ask you about? Like something that we talked about here, and so 2 years from now, what can you say that, yes, we've accomplished this. I've accomplished this.
2 years from now, I should be halfway through my businesses. 2
Mm.
years from now. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Providing I can do what I think I want to do.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like when I get something in my system, I just do it. So I will. I think that 2 years from now, I'll either be completely exhausted, but I will be halfway through those businesses. I will have had probably a roundtable or two with whether it be entrepreneurs or nonprofits, small business. Like I think we need to have that started up already, and I think that the business visits will actually be kind of the kickoff to all of that.
Yeah. And you'll have that Facebook page up and running.
Have that Facebook page up. That can't be that expensive.
Yeah, no. You have
That should
going
be a good
day,
thing.
Day one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, and I think, and I plan as a mayor to continue to do community meetings and not like community meetings like I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that it's important to, again, access to a mayor it creates trust, it creates transparency, and that's my goal for this whole term is to make government transparent and trustworthy again. Not that it isn't, but the perception out there is that it isn't.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm saying that I want to be able to change that perception as much as I can in this first term.
Yeah. Just like in business, it's doing the things that are working really, really well. Just refine and improve, and the things that are not, focus on changing that and creating a difference there, right? You guys do, and I'm going to speak to you specifically. I see you all around, always. A lot of times, this is election time right now, at the time of this recording, and you're not just out and about only during election time, which is usually what people tend to see, right? You're at the coffee meets, the coffee connects, the lunches and stuff like that the Ajax Pickering Board of Trade would have, and other networking events. You're just around in your community. So, that's a strength, and that's what you already do. So,
energized by people.
Which is awesome.
And when I knock on the door and they say, "Oh, I didn't see you for 4 years," and I think, "Well, you didn't need me."
Yeah.
Because people that need me have found me.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like people live their lives, and I get it. Like sometimes you just either don't know how to reach out to people, but I try to be as much as I can out there.
Yeah. I love what you're doing. So good luck with your campaign.
Thank you.
And where can people find you?
MarilynCrawford.ca is my website.
Yeah.
And Marilyn for Mayor is my Facebook and my Instagram page.
All right. Awesome. Good. Well, you heard it right here. Thank you, Marilyn, for being on my podcast.
Thank
this
you.
was an honor to have you. As I said, good luck with your campaigning. Get out there and connect. And to you business owners, in order to grow your business, you got to connect, collaborate, and contribute. Don't make excuses. Just get out there and do what you got to do. It's my business. It's your business. Get to your business.